Hi there, my name is Duncan Haldane from YourKey Rental Management. A little bit about myself. I moved to Calgary approximately 10 years ago from Prince Rupert, British Columbia, the rainiest place in North America. Over the past 10 years, I met my wife. We've now been married happily for 9 years. We have 2 small dogs who we love dearly and spend a lot of our spare time with. We're also entrepreneurs. We started a short-term rental management company called YourKey Rental Management, where we started really from renting a bedroom in our condo, which we eventually turned into managing for other clients. We proved the business model over the last 3 years, and now we operate over 65 units here in Calgary. So instead of hearing from me talk about myself, since you know me a little bit better now, let's go check out one of our units in Kensington.
So this one?
This is the unit. Let me show you inside.
Okay, sounds great. All right, so here we are at the Annex in Sunnyside. I guess people call it Kensington here in Calgary. So it's a short-term rental.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and maybe it seems like an obvious question, but what is a short-term rental? How is that defined?
Yeah, so a short-term rental is technically a rental of 30 days or less. So that's how we operate. That's where we specialize.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's get into the unit and see a little bit more. Okay. So you have a property management company called YourKey.
Correct.
And what kind of services do you offer? What kind of fees do you charge people?
Yeah, so our management fee is 25%. And I like to say there are inclusions in that. So you get the management of the entire guest experience, as well as linen and towel replacement. So if a guest stains, steals, rips a towel, that's included. You never have to pay for that. As well as guest consumables, shampoo, conditioner, etc. Anything a guest would consume, that's also included in our fee.
Okay.
Some of the other things that are included really goes back to the end-to-end process that we manage within. And that starts right from property sourcing. So we don't charge for that service as well, right through property setup, where we'll help support through that. We actually include design services as well. So
I was going to ask, what does it cost to furnish a place
exactly.
like this?
So for us, we include $500 in design services, which is typically enough to get you through the entire process.
Okay.
Now, if you have some questions, or you want to dive deeper, or you want to spend some more time with our designer, you're welcome to do that as well.
Right.
But in essence, our management fee will cover all of this.
Okay. And in terms of what does it cost to actually sort of furnish a place like this? You know, you see, someone's buying a new condo or even an older one, it's going to be empty, right? So what is it going to cost them to put stuff in there?
So there is a range, and we also encourage our clients to input their preferences. If they have a certain style they want to achieve, we can do that. If you're looking at a typical 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, which we're standing in right now, you're looking between $8,000 to $10,000.
Okay.
And now for us as our company, we're a little bit on the higher side, I would say, because we are procuring high quality furnishings. We're not going to maybe the highest quality stores, but we'll look to procure high quality furnishings that will allow us to look ahead 3 to 5 years and remain competitive in that type of market.
So you're not constantly replacing cheaper furniture that could wear out or break more easily.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, gotcha. So maybe we've already covered this, but what would you say sort of sets you apart from some of the other short-term rental companies out there?
There's a lot of companies out there. For us, what I think makes us special are a few things. We offer a premium level of service. And what I mean by that is we are looking at investing in technology to elevate our guest experience, but also to safeguard the asset. We have noise and motion sensors.
Yeah, so you just mentioned that.
Exactly. So we're able to prevent parties or other nuisances from neighbors, and that helps protect the reputation of the property and of our company.
Great idea.
A lot of people don't invest in that. It costs a lot of money. We invest in other technology as well to ensure that our guests are ultimately having the best time when they arrive.
Okay.
Another thing that I think sets us apart is we are based in Calgary. We are focused in Calgary.
Okay.
We employ over 10 Calgarians right now. We don't outsource any of our process.
Okay.
We take all the accountability in-house and we manage that end to end.
Sounds great. Well, let's keep looking around the place.
For sure. Let's take a look.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in a 1-bedroom condo, as we've mentioned before. What's the best type of unit to maximize your ROI for a short-term rental?
I get that question every single day.
I'm sure
Someone
you
asks
do.
me that question, and there's no silver bullet. In my mind, there's not one property that you're saying, I'm going to buy that property, I'm going to get the highest return on my investment.
Okay.
When I'm sourcing properties for my clients, what I look to do is steer people towards having unique selling features.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't have to be one of 100, but it could have unique features, which is a great view, a large outdoor space, something that separates it from the pack, because what we're seeing is we're trying to create experiences. That's where the market's going.
Yeah.
So for us, in 3 to 5 years, we see that there's going to be a higher demand for experiences rather than just a place to sleep.
Makes sense. I mean, I've stayed in a lot of Airbnbs, and typically when I book, I do look for that property that is maybe a little bit more unique or in a different kind of location, or maybe looks kind of funky inside, just to give you a different feeling from maybe just staying in a regular condo like you would
Exactly.
at home.
So there's a lot of factors that play into it. It doesn't have to be unique.
Okay.
But if I'm looking at trying to maximize, I'm trying to get a premium. So that has to do with some differentiating factors.
Okay, and what about condos versus, let's say, detached homes or semi-detached homes, or even a townhome? You know, what's the ROI there, or where are you best to put your money?
Yeah, there again, when I look at this, for me, you can make a lot of return in terms of detached homes, but you're going to have a little bit more expense.
Okay.
Lawn maintenance, snow removal, those types of activities will feature a little bit more prominently. Similarly, we're starting to see more group travel. So detached homes could be somewhere where we're seeing a higher demand.
Okay.
And that could be suburban. It could be in the far north. It could be in the deep south. We're seeing a lot of demand in all of those areas.
Okay, and that actually leads me to my next question was, you know, is there an area of the city where you find the demand is sort of highest? Like if an investor is looking to get into Airbnb, what would be the best area, do you think, of Calgary for them to maybe look at, especially initially, if this is going to be their first one?
Yes, if you are endeavoring into your first short-term rental, of course, the inner city, I think there is always going to be the highest amount of demand.
Okay.
However, if you are looking in a specific neighborhood, there may not be that many short-term rentals in that neighborhood.
Sure.
I always say look at alternative accommodation options.
Okay.
Not just Airbnb or VRBOs. Is there hotels around? Are there other options? Because what we're seeing is in neighborhoods, a lot of families who have family in the area are staying there. So for us, we look at that and say there's not a lot of alternatives. Maybe there's other features. Maybe there's a mall. Maybe there's a hospital or other things that are going to bring people naturally to that area. That's also going to help drive demand.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're in Calgary. Seasonality is a thing.
Yes.
I think the last 5 days we've experienced all 4 seasons here in Calgary. It went from 20 degrees to I think a high of 7 degrees today. We have snow. So I'm guessing that seasonality also plays a role with rentals. There must be times of year that are more popular for bookings than others. So tell me a little bit about that.
It does. Seasonality features significantly here in Calgary.
Okay.
So what we see is, obviously, I say the warmer the weather, the warmer the rates, but also your occupancy does go up. So in the summertime, we're tracking somewhere around 90 to 95. You could be at 100 for some listings. Whereas in the wintertime, you're seeing lows between 65, 70, with an average that we're aiming for of 80%. So that's what we see if we look 12 months year round, we see about 80%. What we are seeing though with the data when we track that is that seasonality is actually becoming less of a factor, marginally less, but we like to look at the numbers and then make decision making from that. So we're actually looking at that, and I believe this is from Canmore Banff pushing more people into the city because it is so expensive there. So people are choosing to stay here and then go experience Banff.
Yeah, it's only a 45-minute drive out, so that makes sense.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that info. I think that's really important for investors to understand when they're running their numbers. They should be factoring in some vacancy.
Exactly. And for us, when you work with us, we create 12-month financial projections. So we can give that to potential investors.
Okay.
And I say go in with your eyes wide open. And when we create projections, they are what I believe is achievable. There is room for overachieving that, of
Sure.
course. But what we don't want to do is give numbers that are ambitious to try to win clients. That's absolutely not what we do. Or give numbers that are too low and then look like superstars when we overperform.
Sure.
We want to make sure it's achievable. You can look at that, and it's
Okay.
something you can put some trust into.
Amazing. All right, well, I think that there's some amazing views from the roof, so let's head up there next and chat some more.
Perfect. Let's go check it out.
Okay. All right, so we're up on the rooftop now. Got a little bit of snow a couple days ago. My heels in the snow. But I wanted to ask you, because I'm getting a lot of requests from investors about Airbnb investments. So it's a hot thing right now, especially in Calgary, because there are some other markets in Canada where they're really trying to squash it a little bit. So what's your take on the market saturation and how is it affecting some of the properties you manage?
Yeah, so if we look at the statistics, go by the numbers first. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Quarter to quarter growth, 13%.
Okay.
If we look year over year, this time last year, we're about 33% growth. So we're starting to see some pickup there.
Yeah.
In our units that we manage, we haven't seen any negative impact on occupancy. I think this is partly hedged by the increase in travel. So
Right,
that is
okay.
partly hedging what we're seeing from a growth perspective.
Sure.
However, for our units, what we try to do is look ahead
Right.
and forecast what is it going to look like in 3 years? Where is the market going to be and
Okay.
play in that space now? So that's
Sure.
why we design units that are based on experience now. So that's going to help us always be at the front of the market
Okay.
rather than trailing and trying to play catch up.
Okay, no, makes sense. And that leads to my next question. Where do you see the STR market going in the next 1 to 3, 5 years here in Calgary?
Even if we look back when we first started, it was about sharing your home. It was a
Yeah.
great place to welcome people into your home. That's completely changed.
Sure, it's a business for people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
people and guests specifically, when they arrive to a property, they almost expect a hotel quality experience,
Right.
which is vastly different than when it was 7 years ago.
Sure.
So now if we fast forward and look, say, 3 to 5 years ahead, where is the guest experience going to be?
Sure.
And I've referenced it a couple times, but it is about the experience.
Yep.
So we're going away from a place to rest your head at night and sleep. Yes, that's the baseline requirement.
Of course.
But people want to stay somewhere that is unique, that is
Okay.
different, that is not the same as the property that they stay in, but rather maybe something that's a little bit out there,
Yep.
a little bit funky. It has a little bit of a trendiness to it. We're staying in an area where they don't normally experience.
Okay.
So for us, we're looking at the experience and trying to incorporate that into our properties now.
Okay. And what about the fear of bylaws changing, especially in condo buildings or in townhome complexes, with bylaws changing that may, disallow this kind of
For sure.
short-term rental happening?
Yeah.
What do you have? What would you say to investors who are worried about that happening?
So when I look at our risk mitigation plan, obviously changing bylaws, whether that's municipal, that's at the top of our list. And then when you go into each building specific, those
Yeah.
are risks.
Right.
Of course, we outline those with our investors, with our clients, and say,
Sure.
here's what you are entering into.
Yep.
Now there's buildings that have taken a silent approach. They don't say one way or another. They're just
Right.
playing in the middle. There's buildings that disallow Airbnb. And then there's buildings such as the one we're in today, like the Annex, who've created a policy,
Sure.
which I'm always advocating for policy that's going to attack root causes
Yes.
or issues or concerns that residents might have.
Makes it better for everyone.
Exactly. We are trying to be a good neighbor. I would rather people stay in the unit and not even know it's an Airbnb.
Sure.
But on the other side of the coin, I would rather everyone raise their level of management up to a standard that's going to make sure that we are good neighbors for everyone in the building.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Duncan. It's awesome.
Well, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's been a great winter day, but I think we had a great time.
For sure. And where can people find you?
People can find us at YourKey.ca. So if
Okay.
you want to go on the web, you can find us there.
Okay.
You can also email us directly at info@YourKey.ca,
Okay.
and you'll get myself or Beth who will respond to you within a day.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification so you see more. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.